talking about artificial intelligence.
Many people will disagree with me on this, okay? It's going to help automate a lot of systems and processes, just make things more efficient. Yes, some people may end up losing jobs from it, and they probably will. There'll also be new jobs created because of AI. And then if you want to talk about text-based content, we ran an experiment with 744 articles, I believe on 68 websites, half AI, half human written. The human written content got 5.44x more traffic than the AI one. It just shows that people prefer human written content. I think AI is going to change the world, but it's not going to replace everything. And I think people are going to extreme being like, in 5 years, we're going to be at a point where AI is smarter than everyone and it's going to do marketing better. Well, okay, if you're telling AI to do marketing for 5 million companies out there, how's it going to really do it different for everyone?
Where does someone start in marketing?
This is really simple. Think of it like spaghetti. Throw it against the wall. The channels and the tactics and the strategies that are working the best are the ones that are sticking.
I always like to go back and give the audience what was going on in your mind like day one when you started, and what is the thing that you're most proud of?
When I started day one, I couldn't afford to push out tons of ads on the internet to attract customers. I just started creating goodwill and content of like, maybe one day people will hire our company. And that was the headspace that I was in when I started creating content on the internet. And it ended up working out. I didn't know if it was going to work out, being blunt, but it did work out. And right timing, right place. And I was willing to take the initiative and be consistent and push out for many years before I saw $1 in revenue. I tried a lot of different types of businesses over the years, but for some reason, I'm addicted to marketing like it's some sort of drug. Never really took drugs as a kid, but you get the point. I'm just addicted to it. And I don't know why, but I just love watching things like sales go up or traffic go up or conversions go up. And whether I'm helping a small mom and pop or a large enterprise, watching those numbers is just adrenaline rush for me.
Talking about artificial intelligence, how do you think that that's going to affect the marketing space, social media, and what should business people be thinking about right now?
Or with AI, when you think about marketing and business, it's going to help automate a lot of systems and processes, just make things more efficient. Everyone eventually is going to have like an AI assistant or a buddy right next to them that's going to help them become better, more efficient, more accurate. You're going to start seeing tasks be completed quicker, so that way people can spend more time on strategy and creative work. But I think it's actually going to benefit the industry as a whole. Yeah, some people may end up losing jobs from it, and they probably will. There'll also be new jobs created because of AI. But net, I think you're going to have a much better output and a faster output, which is going to start making execution a lot quicker for businesses and allow them to see results quicker.
And the content creators, are they just basically going to be made from AI that you're actually not going to need real people?
So many people will disagree with me on this, okay? You and I are here right now doing this podcast. It's real. There's no AI. This connection that we are creating, the connection that people have watching, I personally don't believe they're going to get that when it's AI. Now, you can record yourself using tools like HeyGen, and then you can input a prompt and create a video that based on you, and it's going to look like you, and it can be in any different language, and it's close to accurate. It's not 100%, but it's close. It's just not real. And when we look at the AI content on social, it doesn't do as well as the human created content, just from everything that we're seeing. And then if you want to talk about text-based content, we ran an experiment with 744 articles, I believe on 68 websites, half AI, half human written. The human written content after, I believe it was like 5 months or 6 months, got 5.44x more traffic than the AI one, right? It just shows that people prefer human written content. And AI content will get better over time, but it's like people are talking about automating everything. like including sales. And yeah, you could save money. But when I'm talking to customer support or I'm talking to someone about sales, at least for a high ticket item, I do not want AI. I want a human. And when you're talking about, customer support, I was on with, I think it was Bank of America or one of these platforms for my Visa card. And I just needed a new card because it expired. And I was like, why does my card keep getting declined? And then I quickly realized it was expired and it was a month plus expired. And I was like, and I barely used the card, but I was just like, what the heck? Calling Bank of America hotline on the back of my Alaska Airlines Visa card. And it took me forever. And they're using this AI intelligence, system. And I'm like, dude, just give me a new card. I didn't find it in the mail. And I think I waited like 15, 20 minutes just to get a hold of someone because their AI system wanted to help me out. But let's take a real estate lens on this for a minute, okay? You're in real estate. There's a lack of construction workers to build homes in the United States. There has been for a while. There's actually a lack of housing. You're going to start seeing 3D printed housing or AI created housing and assembly line, and it'll do well. People will buy it. But you're in Miami, Florida. And I'm not saying this technology won't change real estate. There's also people who want a home, a custom built home, where you're seeing a lot of it in Miami, which is a very affluent city, and there's a lot of rich people there. Yeah, Star Island and a lot of other places where the homes are just outrageously expensive. Those people will still want a custom home, maybe using some AI technology to help speed up the process so it doesn't take 2 years to build, a year for permitting, so you're at 3 years. Maybe it dwindles down the process to 2 years and you can move in instead of three, including permitting process, right? But people will still want custom. They'll still want a human to come in and paint things as the way they want or decorate it the way they want. You know, I think AI is going to change the world, but it's not going to replace everything. And I think people are going to extreme being like, in 5 years, we're going to be at a point where AI is smarter than everyone and it's going to do marketing better. Well, okay, if you're telling AI to do marketing for 5 million companies out there, how's it going to really do it different for everyone? Right? Some of the thought processes I have are going to be different than the computer has. And where I think AI is going to replace a lot of stuff, it's going to replace a lot of average and mediocre people and their thought process. To be blunt, I know it sounds bad, but just to be blunt, I think the top tier people, the top 1%, I'm not talking about income, I'm talking about intellect, creativity, etc. They'll be more valuable, they'll get paid more, and with AI, they'll even become better.
Do you find that it's more creative or more analytical when it comes to getting marketing right?
It's a mixture of both. You really do need both. It's not one or the other. Some people say you gotta follow all the data. Yeah, and some people say you gotta just focus on the brand and ignore the data. But I can tell you a combination of both is the right methodology. You can't build a big business without spending money on creativity and branding. EX Nike, right? Tesla, Coca-Cola. It's done tremendously well for a lot of brands out there. And people aren't just Googling to buy their products. They just know their brand because they've been around so long and they've been consistent with their messaging and how they're leveraging creatives out there, right? But on the flip side, if you're not looking at the data, you can waste a lot of money. So when you do a combination of both, that's where you really see the good growth.
But I think that strengths and weaknesses, right? If you have two partners in a business, one could be the creative, one could be the analytical, and you could put them together. It probably makes a big difference.
Totally agree. Like, I'm more data driven. It is hard for me to be as creative as some of those people who are just really good at, thinking outside the box. But on the flip side, they struggle with the data and the analytics side. And I think what you find is some people can do both, and I can do both, but I'm still stronger on the data and the analytics side. But you combine individuals who complement each other and you'll see much better results in marketing.
Let's say someone's starting out, right? There's all these different platforms. How would they know which platform to go on and where do they start? Where does someone start in marketing?
This is really simple. Think of it like spaghetti. I was once told when I was a little kid, I've never tried this. You throw spaghetti against the wall, if it sticks, it's cooked. All right? Think of your marketing. You have all these different channels out there. Think of them as spaghetti noodles or strings or whatever they're called. throw it against the wall. The channels and the tactics and the strategies that are working the best are the ones that are sticking. Double down on those, because at the beginning, especially when you're strapped with resources and time and money, right? You can't do everything. So do the ones that are already getting traction, the ones that are AKA sticking, double down on those. And then once you nail them, you scale them and they're doing better, then go after the ones that fell off onto the ground and did not stick because they weren't ready yet. So you go after the low-hanging fruit first, and then you go and you tackle the harder channels next. Now, the easiest way to figure out the low-hanging fruit is not actually by throwing spaghetti on the wall. It's more so you see what channels your competitors are leveraging the most. Tools like Ubersuggest, Answer the Public help with this. You can just browse your competition, their websites, browse the internet, see what they're up to. Start with those channels because they're probably most likely to perform well within your industry, and then double down on the others later on.
I've gotten that wrong. I've hired outside companies. I've spent a ton of money on SEO. What is a good efficient way if you're a small business and you want to start, finding somebody? How do you judge them whether they're good or bad at getting, again, results?
So what most people do is they say, let me go and find someone who can do SEO and rank a website. And then they show you, look at these sites that I ranked, you should pay me. And then that salesperson makes the business owner feel comfortable, and then they hire them. The ideal way that you should be hiring an agency, whether it's for SEO or paid ads or anything else, is I'm looking for better rankings on Google. I'm in a specific industry. Let's say you're in real estate or home services or a car dealership or software, whatever it may be. You go look for an agency who's produced results within your exact industry, not once, not twice, but many times. Not only can they show you the case studies, but they can point to referrals like phone calls and all this kind of stuff. So that way you know that they're good in your space and producing results for it. Then from there, you can't just hire. You need to find out who were the exact people on that account that produced the results for X, Y, and Z company that you showed me that's in my space. They may not be a direct competitor, but they're in my space. And then you're like, I want those people on my account.
I really definitely appreciate that. And I know you talk a lot about a logo, a business's logo. Why is that so important?
A logo is so important because when your brand's out there, right, and people constantly see it, you want them to think about your company when they see or feel a certain way. And when I say see or feel a certain way, I'm not talking about seeing your actual logo. I'm talking about when they see something in this world. You want them to think about your company, your brand, your logo. So, for example of this, let's say we all know the Apple logo. I have the iPhone right here, Apple logo on the back. All right. When I see stuff like articles like about robots in a home that clean and do all that kind of housework stuff, so you don't necessarily need a housekeeper. And there's companies actually building one, and I saw one the other day. And it's more so working on at the BMW car factory. I don't know which car factory because they have tons of them. And it's helping assemble cars. It's actual robots that are like humans. The first thing that comes to my mind is, I can't wait for Apple to create this product, right? That branding that they created, not just the logo, their identity, the messaging that they put across for many, many years. It makes me think when I have something in my house, when I'm using something personally, I can trust Apple for hardware technology. It'll create amazing user experience and it'll do the job really well done, right? That's ideally what you want to create when someone interacts with your brand, your logo, your messaging, your tagline. And you are not going to get as far as Apple, where I'm thinking about a robot and I'm like, oh, I can't wait for Apple to do this or Apple to release a car, whatever it may be. But it's more so when they have a problem related to your space, you want them to think about your logo. Apple's the gold standard, but who knows? Eventually you may get there.
What would you say is the common denominator of a business, company, individual that gets the marketing right?
Experimentation. What worked for you and what will work for me in real estate won't always be the same. And I know, I'm not in real estate, but real estate has things like location, timing, maybe the cost of materials is lower. I'll give you a great example of this. It was either during the interview or before we started, you talked about the fires here in Los Angeles. Next year, when people start rebuilding, sometime in 2026, there's going to be a shortage of materials, construction workers, and pricing's going to be through the roof. It's just sad, right? Someone could get lucky and be like, I'm building a house right now and I can just flip it in a year and a half and I'll make a killing in one of these neighborhoods, right? Someone could end up doing that. A lot of that is luck and right timing. And if I was in real estate, which I'm not, I can't easily replicate what my competitor just did, right? And I don't think people should be taking advantage of others who are misfortunate, but I'm just giving you an extreme example that even if you're in the same space, there's a lot of different variables. The real way to succeed is you continue to experiment and try new things because it's how you uncover new channels and methods and strategies that actually work and produce results.